What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about metabolism, and in particular having an adaptive metabolism. What does it mean to have an adaptive metabolism? What is metabolic adaptation? And do you think you have a broken metabolism, a slow metabolism, or some of you who think you have a damaged metabolism? This video is designed to talk about all those things from my point of view, based on, my research, my own body, my experience, and my experience with my clients. I definitely am not a doctor or anything like that, so everything that I talk about today is pretty much from my point of view, and what I want to be basically doing is explaining all of these super complicating things in my own way, my own terms, and in a really easy to understand way. And I want you guys to come out of this basically having a little bit of knowledge, but I want to approach it from a different point of view, in a different way, so that nobody's gonna come out of this feeling bad about themselves. This is kind of designed to help you love, understand, and accept your body, and know that no matter what we were born with and given with and what the circumstance is, that we can definitely change it, and there is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm sure a lot of you would have been in this situation where you feel like you've hit a plateau, you can't seem to lose weight, you feel like you've been dieting for so long that your metabolism is damaged and you just can't lose any more weight, or you were losing weight for a good amount of time and then you've just stopped losing weight, or you found yourself regaining weight really quickly, for example a post-dieting period or post-competition. So it's very common, especially in my circle, for people to think that they have damaged their metabolism after a very intense and hard contest prep. And I'm here to tell you that most likely than not, 99.99% of the time, that is not the case. So what I genuinely believe as a coach and as an athlete is we need to love our bodies, and we can't, and I really believe how we feel and how we think internally really manifests itself in our bodies. So if we keep telling ourselves that I just can't lose weight because I have a slow metabolism, my metabolism is damaged, I've fucked my body up so bad and I'm never going to recover from this, you're just putting yourself in a bad place. So I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. Your metabolism is not damaged, and I hope that I can explain this to you in a way that helps you understand why our bodies are the way it is. So first and foremost, for everyone who thinks their bodies are broken or their metabolism is broken, you need to remember what our body's number one priority and number one function is. It is to help us survive, to keep us alive, and as females, to prime us for giving birth at any time. So that is the priority, and it's also one of the reasons why females tend to struggle a little bit more, and female bodies like to hold a little bit more body fat, because our bodies are designed to make babies, I guess. Your body does not care for you to have abs, for you to have muscle. Our body does not care about that. It was made to live, to survive, and to reproduce. So we need to remember that that is what our body's priorities are. What our own personal priorities are may not align with what our body is designed to do. So we need to understand that our body's mechanisms are all there to protect us and to help us survive. So we need to stop thinking about it in a sense that we are damaged, we are broken, and that there's something wrong with us. There's definitely nothing wrong with us, and our bodies are just really good at survival and really good at adapting, and our bodies are just so amazing, and we need to give it a little bit more credit. And I really want to share some really interesting things about our bodies and how our bodies adapt, that I just feel it's just so amazing. So obviously there's the metabolism part of it, but fun facts, when you dip your fingers in water and it starts to get all pruny, that is your body's adaptive response, because it makes it kind of pruny so that so it's not slippery. When I learned about that, it just freaking blew my mind. So when your fingers start to prune up, so that in caveman days or whatever, you are able to grip onto stuff better, and you don't get all slidey and slippery everywhere. So that was super cool when I heard about that. Like, that's how adaptive our bodies are. It's just designed so amazingly to help us survive. We also have, as females, and this also blew my mind, but when you are pregnant, your body actually produces a type of hormone that makes your joints like weaker and softer, which sounds really bad for you. But the reason why it does that is to actually kind of loosen up your hips and the canals and stuff, to kind of like make your bones always softer so that the baby can pass through. So again, that was another thing that blew my mind. I just, ever since becoming an athlete and becoming a coach, I just love learning so much about the human body, and I just think it's just so amazing, everything it does. And really, we need to understand and appreciate and respect the fact that our bodies want to help us do anything and everything it can to survive and to make things easier. It's not wanting us to do things the hard way, which is why generally when we're training, our bodies will always find ways to cheat. And the way to make our body grow is to actually make our bodies do things the hard way. For example, lift things a little bit slower without momentum and stuff like that, which our bodies just don't understand why the hell we're doing that. It wants us to be super functional. Why are we lifting this so slowly and inefficiently? It just wants us to be super efficient. So obviously our metabolisms slow down and speed up at different times. So a lot of times when we're losing weight, our body's metabolism will start to slow down. That is perfectly normal. Imagine if you were losing a kilo a day and you were like 40 kilos. If your body allowed you to continue losing a kilo for the next 40 days, you would literally disappear into nothing. So, you know, once you start losing weight, you need to understand why it's gonna keep getting harder. It's like, oh my God, it's just every time you start something, it just keeps getting harder and harder. But you need to understand why, because otherwise we're just like literally not going to survive. In the caveman days, we don't always get the opportunity to eat. And sometimes people would eat once every like 3-4 days. And I genuinely believe in different kind of like countries, and because like, and I found that in me, particularly being Asian and a lot of other Asians, we tend to have even more adaptive metabolisms because perhaps our ancestors had to go through like tougher times. So our metabolism is just more, we're just more resilient and we can survive more days without food. So actually the people who struggle more losing weight, it just means that if we were all thrown onto an island, we are gonna be the ones that survive longer. So I'm sure, hopefully some of you guys have like watched Survivor, and you know that obviously they don't get to eat a lot, but they still just somehow are able to continue living. They have all this energy to do these crazy challenges, and they're still being able to do endurance type stuff, and just like the body is just so crazy. But basically, if your body is really good at conserving energy, that will help you to obviously survive longer. And that is the main reason why our metabolisms pretty much slow down, for us to recover and to prevent us from starving, essentially. And the opposite also happens when we start to gain too much weight. So generally when we're going through like a reverse diet, or when some people are trying to gain a little bit more weight, our metabolism also starts to speed up. And when I looked more into it, a really interesting reason and theory is also that like our bodies don't want us to be too fat. So we need to be efficient, right? That is the number one goal. So if we're like too fat and too heavy, it means that we're gonna move slower, so we could potentially be hunted down by other prey. So if you think about that, you always have to go back to kind of caveman days to understand why our bodies work the way it works. So pretty much, if we lose too much weight, we're gonna starve and die and wither away to nothing. If we gain too much weight, we're gonna be like slow, we can't hunt, we're gonna get hunted, and we're not gonna be able to survive. So it always just literally comes down to survival. I think when people start to really understand that this is why things happen, it makes it easier for us to accept it, to be more positive about it, and to be able to approach our whole fitness journey in a whole different light and mindset. It's also super important to understand what it means by our metabolism slowing down. It's a very broad term that people use to kind of describe why our bodies can't just keep losing weight at a fast pace forever. So it's just pretty much called metabolic adaptation, and our body does this by releasing a bunch of different hormones and doing a bunch of stuff. So again, like I said, I don't want want to make this video too complicating and too sciencey, but basically one of the main things that it does is it reduces something called NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So those are things that are not exercise related. So some of you may think that, oh my god, I do hours and hours of cardio, I go to this class or that class, like I do all this exercise, why can't I continue to lose weight? So NEAT has absolutely nothing to do with exercise, or like any kind of exercise that you purposely do. NEAT is something that I'm literally doing right now. So obviously I'm a little bit more fed than usual. I'm moving my hands, I'm blinking, I'm a little bit more energized. Maybe I shake my leg a little bit more. Maybe I walk a little bit faster. These are things that we don't think about, and these are things that our bodies readily and naturally do. So I'm sure a lot of you would have realized if you are dieting or in a competition prep that you may walk a little bit slower, you may think a little bit slower, everything just starts to slow down. Some people even blink a little bit slower. So if you don't realize this by now, I'm sure now after me telling you, you will realize your body is doing all these things to try and slow you down. It goes a step further. If you start to feel kind of like cold, that's your body actually slowing down something else called your thyroid. The thyroid kind of regulates your body temperature. So sometimes when your thyroid gets down regulated, that stops your body from like burning and wasting too much calories, which also can make you kind of feel cold. So that's one of the ways that your body kind of like adapts to that. So other things that kind of waste a lot of energy apart from like, you know, things like moving your hands around and stuff like that is also like digestion. So for your body to be able to digest food, again, it requires a lot of energy. So sometimes your body again gets lazy, wants to slow things down, so your digestion starts to slow down. Another thing, again, female related, is it burns a lot of calories for your body to actually have a period. So when it starts to get like very, very slow and your body is prioritizing survival over reproduction, it'll make that choice, and it's currently saying like, right, we need to make this human survive right now. Period does not matter. We're gonna just push that aside, just not going to worry about it because this human needs to survive. Again, all the survival mechanisms kick in. So that is one of the other ways that your body just slows down, all these things, and all of that obviously contribute to like your metabolism, burning calories and stuff like that. So if you're someone who's just like me, that when you try to lose weight, like your body just does not want to, but at the same time, sometimes when you try to gain weight, gain muscle, your body just does not want to. It just likes staying the way it is. Just know that it's because your body is super resilient. It's like the survivor gene. That's what I like to call it. That's how I explain it to my clients. We're just made to be more resilient and we're made to be survivors. So if we're, like I said, plopped onto an island, we would be the ones that come out on top and we would be the ones surviving. So you need to stop blaming your body for being stubborn and instead see it as like it's just functioning at such a high level. Yes, it may mean that we need to work a little bit harder, be a little bit smarter with our approach, but just know that it's not because there's anything wrong with you or us. We just need to have a better plan, a better approach to things, which I won't talk about in today's video, but definitely if you have a coach, they'd be able to help you out and work together with your body to figure out the best way to trick and combat your body's just natural defense mechanisms. Some of you may have experienced this, but as we start to eat more, then our body starts to be really, really wasteful and just not as efficient in regards to conserving energy. Our bodies just literally start to waste a lot of energy. So a lot of people who start to eat more and their metabolism is ramping up, they're feeling hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and their bodies just burn through it and they'll just start to feel really, really hungry. So when their body is burning through the calories, their metabolism is ramping up, and then once they start to finish using all the calories, your body makes you feel hungry to make you eat more. And sometimes because we've been dieting for so long, once our body starts to feel hungry, it almost has a little bit of PTSD, and it's like, oh my god, I'm scared we're gonna like run out of energy like we did last time, so this time I better make this human eat a little bit more. And that's why we get that insatiable kind of hunger. Again, a different topic for a different day, but the main point of today's video when it comes to your metabolism is that like, yeah, sometimes when we start eating more, we're gonna start burning more calories, and then we're gonna just kind of stay the same as well. So that's the good thing about having an adaptive metabolism, is it works both ways. So if you find that it's very hard for you to lose weight, such as myself, the same usually happens in the opposite way. So again, our bodies don't want us to get too heavy because for some reason, if we get chased down, we want to be able to run. We want to be able to escape the lion trying to eat us or whatever. Okay, so it happens the same, the opposite way as well. So that's something that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to share with you guys, that, you know, if you have an adaptive metabolism going down, it'll also happen the same way moving up. And I think a lot of people kind of experience this. Our body has a body fat set point weight that it likes to stay at. So I've kind of found mine after like dieting all these years, and I find that when I get too heavy, my body starts like wasting a lot of energy and it's just not as efficient. I have a weight where my body is most kind of like happy. For me to gain more weight than that is very, very difficult. And for me to lose more weight than that is also very, very difficult. So it works both ways. So if any of you are in the same boat, hopefully this has kind of offered you a little bit of light and insight into the interesting thing that is our bodies and how our bodies work. Obviously, I'm trying to just explain it to you in like a nice fun way, and just to be as little, just to involve as little kind of like sciencey words as possible. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and my take on talking about metabolism and explaining what an adaptive metabolism is, and just talking more about metabolic adaptation. If you want me to talk more about this, or just kind of give you more information on anything that I've kind of touched on, it's just, the topic is very big. I'm just trying to compress it all into nice simple terms. Do leave me a comment and let me know if there are any other topics you'd like me to discuss in a nice simple way such as this. Do leave it in the comments below as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.